guys. Daniel and I are back. We have just been sitting here chatting on the bed, and I was like, wait, we got to record, because he just says all the profound things, and I'm like, oh my God, I wish we were recording. But we were going to talk. We tried to come up with an idea for what this is going to be called today. We thought pain body is relevant, which is a term coined by, I guess, Eckhart Tolle.
I think
Is that how you pronounce his name?
I believe it is. Or Tolle.
Tolle.
Hard to tell.
I have like all his books on my bookshelf here.
He's lovely.
I love him.
Lovely teacher and very, very clear message. I don't know how he got it, meaning like I know his story.
Story about he was sitting on the park bench.
I got it. Yeah. But like, how do we get that? Right?
Yes.
How do I get that download? And I find that having like daily practice and working on these things keeps it more present for me. I don't have the big download.
Come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, I haven't had that. Mine is gradual and evolving. And I love the idea of the pain body because it resonates a lot with this concept of somaticized holdings in the body.
Please explain.
Well, basically, your muscles are wrapped in this fiber called fascia. And fascia stores a lot of emotionality. Maybe you've heard about somatic healers that are really popular now. Beautiful work.
All the tapping, my friends do the tapping.
Right.
Yeah.
I had an amazing experience with Rolfing where I started to follow the trajectory of my emotional experience. I'll tell you a little bit about it. So if I shake your hand, you're used to it. But if someone touches you here and does a lot of work, the whole central nervous system wakes up.
Yeah.
And you get an idea of how you emotionally are greeting the world. And I noticed I had stuff around fear and anger and then sadness. And you start to see that we're just, spiritual beings in a human form in a material world having emotional experiences. Like that's a lot. There's a lot
going on.
There's a lot, right?
Yes.
So
absolutely.
I like the pain body, and I like this idea of how it corresponds with somaticized holdings, that you hold emotional experiences in the body, right? Some of us have a baseline of anger that tends to be a very cisgender male thing to have, right? We greet the default. World, right. I'm angry. And for women, it's often like sensitivity or sadness, right? These are like
low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem. And I think that these things that we need to notice about ourselves, kind of begin to empty out this, as Shinzen Young calls it, the pool of poison and pain, right? Or the pain body, as Ahearn calls it. I look at it as somaticized holdings in the body. Like, you come online at 13 or 14, all of a sudden you're in the world. There's a value system that you see.
Yeah.
Depending on where you grow up, conditioning and environment are huge, right? There's your genetic coding, right?
Predisposition.
All these things that have come with you, and then you're a person in the world, right? So that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then you're using social media, and you're comparing yourself. Am I pretty enough?
Yes. Social media.
Rich enough? Am I smart enough? It's like a portable pain body.
Yeah, right? And lying in these states of comparison which just do not serve you, but it's really easy. I think you called it a shame spiral.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been there before.
Have you talked about that?
Oh, well, I'm glad I was there because I was there in 2012, right when I met Mark. And I had broken up with a boyfriend, and there was paparazzi photos of them together, and I was seeing him and his new girl, and they had there was a bit of a crossover, and I remember sitting in the Bowery Hotel, and I was just dying, sobbing, crying. That's my baby, needs mummy. And just feeling it, and I was like, you know what? And, I'm a terrible actress and I'm not getting any work. And so I started Googling other actresses who I felt had more successful careers than me. And then was like, oh, they've got another movie at Sundance. And the person who I had Googled was Amanda Seyfried. And she was in this movie at Sundance. And I was like, oh, what is this movie? The End of Love. I'm like, oh, God, I guess I'm going to watch this. And I looked at the trailer and I was so emotionally impacted by this movie. And it's actually how I met my husband. So the fact that I was in Pain Body and the Shame Spiral, I was Googling and I found Amanda's movie that she was in, happened to be directed by someone called Mark Webber. I tweeted about it, and that's actually how I ended up meeting Mark.
That's amazing.
So it came out of my spiral.
That's amazing.
But it was one of the most painful ones I had.
I believe it. I can feel it.
But I felt so much better afterwards. It was so funny. It's like I had to hit rock bottom, and about 4 or 5 days later, I felt completely liberated and free, and I felt really elated.
You went right into the center, but went to the bottom, and it freed you.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring my baby. You keep talking.
Well, I think that's an interesting methodology to be able to notice what exactly is the thing that's compelling to me about this experience and going right into the center of it. I don't have that experience. Low power. I don't have that experience of that kind of liberation. I find those poles, the magnetism of what we call in Buddhism craving and aversion. Craving is the wanting the thing that I don't have. Aversion is not wanting the thing that I have. That sort of magnetic stickiness and grabbiness to be very, very painful, you know. And social media, comparing, as we talked about, shame spiraling, sort of looking at someone else's life and imagining how happy you would be if you only had a stranger's life. You know, you forget that a lot of this stuff... Hi, sweetheart.
Oh, she wanted the baby.
A lot of this stuff it doesn't tell the whole story, you know, and that can be painful. I was saying when you left that I don't have that experience that you had of like going right to the center. I find the stickiness like seductive and repulsive, and I have to stay conscious of it. Like, what is my attachment to this thing? What am I looking for? Like, and how
Mark does that too.
He does?
Yeah, he does that too.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the lesson that I can get? And I think it's, for me, it's evolving. But, you know, I'm grown. I'm a grown man. I have some distance from these things. I imagine it's really, really hard for kids.
Oh, yeah, for young people.
It's just so hard. And I see it with the populations I work with. It's so painful how they have this virtual value system that is literally crushing them.
Yeah, I think, gosh, just social media can be such a beautiful outlet.
It can be amazing.
It can be amazing. It really can be, but it can be such a toxic environment too. And I think one of the main things that I've found that really serves me is taking a break. So I just switch off my phone and take a break from all of the external things, because in your hand you have access to so much information through your phone.
It's unbelievable.
Including tons of negative news stories and things that really affect me. And I used to be really triggered by social media and so many just current affairs and just things that we're hearing constantly, all day long. And
it trains you.
Yes,
it
absolutely.
You to see the world
and then
a
you
certain way.
seek it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was sitting in a fear place.
Right.
Because I just had this low level fear of gun violence and how my family are going to be affected. And it actually was one of the main reasons we ended up buying property in Australia, is because I was so afraid because of the things I'd been fed. And a lot of it is, you know, such a reality as well. But you said something to me once that I love. And it's such a great question, because do you remember we were having a conversation and we were talking about meditation and how we can get really deep and we can get right in there and be our most esoteric spiritual selves. But hang on a second, how do we include all of that and then bring it back down to earth, where we actually just have the daily grind of having to make money and pay bills and be in relationship with another human being? How can those things coexist?
How do they coexist?
Because it's hard.
Yeah, it can. It can be hard. You have these euphoric moments in your life, right? And these ecstatic, like literally ecstasy, like these ecstatic moments. And then you're back in line somewhere, like buying, you know, almond milk somewhere, or any kind of milk is fine. You know,
we're in LA, so it's almond
whatever
milk.
kind of milk or milk substitute. And you're in what you call the mundane things in life. But I think the beauty of it, by if you work on it, is that you find out that the experience of life is such a gift that there are no
mundane moments.
None. I mean, in this moment, if wherever you are right now, if you've had food today, if you have your own pair of shoes, if you have clean water, like you are existing at the top of the food chain. And I think that gets distorted because we're constantly comparing ourselves with this uber idea of what happiness must look like based on money.
Yeah, and sourcing happiness from external places.
I just
money,
think it's
career,
a waste of
love.
time.
Yeah.
There's no way you're not going to go crazy. Look, live a full life, live a bountiful life. You are, and Lindsay and I talk about this, like one of the most like profound manifestors of anyone I know. You're like, I'm going to do it. 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 It just happened. You know, so you are an example of like a full manifested life.
Right.
I'm not advocating that by developing awareness you need to live like a pauper. I'm not saying that you need to live without. Have all the things, but be mindful of the attachment that you have to the things, and the value you put on your self-worth, because that's when we get into tricky territory, painful territory. And I think that I don't know if it...
and it's so real. I see it in so many people. I see it myself, and it's real and it's hard.
It's hard to be awake to those things, to notice, like, this is a great ride. We're having a great ride, you know? Like, enjoy it.
Yeah.
But be mindful of not putting all your well-being or the presentation of your well-being on external things, because they come and they go.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Right, Poet?
Look how happy she is now. She's putting all her stuff on the boob.
Yeah. Well,
she's like, happiness is the boob.
It.
That's it.
This is it.
All right,
How
guys.
did we do?
I think we did really
good.
Did you guys like that?
How did we do? Let us know.
So. Okay. Mwah. See you later.